The hall was dead silent, except for the constant chiming away of the big clock at the back of the hall that seemed oblivious of what the students of Amore College did and had just watched. Let me back up a bit. It was World Youth Day. A few days before the principal announced at the assembly that World Youth Day will be a half day for the entire school. Trust students, they squealed happily because half days do not come every day. We shall spend the rest of the day watching an interesting documentary. Mr. Benjamin's voice rang clear after the students had quietened down. Just as they were about to grumble, he held up his hands to signify that he had more to say. Consider this my departing gift to you, he finished. The noise that erupted was storm between two schools of thought. The first was that of joy and even delight at the fact that they would have no classes at all. Let's face it, everyone wants some free time once in a while. And this one came with entertainment, the kind that Mr. B described as his departing gifts. The second was of shocked amazement that their beloved principal, Mr. B, as he was fondly called, was leaving the school to pursue other goals. In the 18 years he had been a star, first as a teacher, then a quick promotion to vice principal and another promotion to principal, the school flourished. Rumor had it that the school was on the verge of closure when he came on board with strategies that the former principal bought into. Though he was in his late 20s at the time, he brought his fatherly yet disciplinarian mojo on everything else he did. And the fortunes of the school gradually changed to become one of the best public schools in Dida. As part of his contributions, he ran an open door policy where students were free to tell him anything that bothered them. Some of the students who had come to Amore College feeling dejected, downcast, and downright depressed experienced rebirth after they attended a series of Mr. B's popular talk shop hour. Amongst the students were Steve Majek and Lola Sampson. I'll tell you about them shortly, but first, let's go back to the beginning, where the story started, the part where the hall was silent. The hall was a 1,500 seater capacity that was used during school events to ensure the 800 and something students in the school were comfortably seated. Oh, and it was one of Mr. B's remarkable achievements because the government built it during his time after a case of gross failure due to examination malpractice. Story for another day. In celebration of World Youth Day, Mr. B carefully compiled a series of 20 people who transformed their world with their little contributions. This documentary featured some Africans and African Americans such as Nelson Mandela, Ruby Bridges, Shirley Chisholm, Martin Luther King Jr., and Barack Obama. At the end of the documentary, Mr. B took the microphone and addressed the students. How many of you saw yourself in any of these people who changed the course of history? He asked, and the hall fell silent. After what seemed like an eternity, a hand shot up. It was Bernice. She stood up and shouted, "I do! I can change my world too!" And one after the other, like it was scripted, other students stood up to declare their interest to change the world. You should have seen Mr. B with the proud smile he wore as he dabbed his eyes with handkerchief. It was an emotional moment for him. He realized what he was witnessing could be the beginning of the internal revolution he hoped would happen to give him something extra to do as he moved on to another phase of life. I just read to you from my book, Voyagers. To get a copy, click the link in my bio or anywhere in this book. See you again next week. Bye for now.